Hey everyone. Thank you so much that all the things and all the impact and especially the numbers that I can see on the Discord, and the kind of orders, especially the desserts that you folks are ordering on Discord. I love the fact that you are engaging. The only thing that I wanted to do is to make sure that you folks engage, you folks network with each other, you folks at least try to grow with each other. I don't care about how, when, where, but we should definitely engage with each other. And that's the spirit that I wanted to see in Hack the League. Welcome again to the one of the sessions that we were planning before time, that you already know that we would be having some sponsor sessions, but the biggest surprise was which session. I know that folks reached out to me that what session, what topic. So let's just start with it. I think you already know what topic is it. I think you already know who will be the next superhero speaker that we will be inviting to let you all know about the stuff. But let me welcome her directly. So a little bit about it. So I'm super proud and excited to welcome Achal Mishra from Postman. So as you know, Postman is one of our major sponsoring partners and a part of this impact and the vision. And I cannot be more excited and happy to welcome one of the best ones in the community. She has been recognized as the recent Gold Microsoft Student Ambassador. She is impacting so many lives at Postman, and I'm really happy to welcome Achal on the stage. Hey
Hey,
Achal.
hi Jatin. Hi Jatin. Thank you so much for the warm welcome.
Hi Achal. Folks, I know that you have been into the League Connect and you have been doing a lot of things, and all the Discord is all over. So, as you join in, just have a look at one of the technologies that is out there impacting a lot of folks, especially you can see a lot of us, the community people, talking all about Postman. I don't think I need to say anything else when it comes to Postman. I think the impact has been very, very, very clear in the community, and the way that you folks use Postman to make an impact and make that sort of innovation with your projects. And I would love to see so many things and so many projects using Postman. And for that, if you don't know it, then who else to learn from it than the best that all of us know, Miss Anchal Mishra. So the stage all yours, Achal. Let me go to the
Thank you
backstage
so
and you
much.
can start.
Thank you so much, Jatin. Thank you so much for being so kind. So yeah, first of all, I hope you all are having good time at Hack the League. And I definitely must say that kudos to the entire Hack the League team and the organizing team for organizing such an amazing event at large scale. I have organized a lot of them, so I definitely know that it takes a lot, to organize events on large scale. So, I'll quickly share my screen, then I'll also, give a quick introduction about myself. I know that Jatin has already done that, but I'll quickly do that. So let me quickly do it. Okay, share screen. Okay, let me know if anyone can see my screen, in the comment section. Or maybe Jatin, can you? Yeah, I think my screen is visible now. Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to APIs 101 with Postman session. I'm Achal Mishra, and I'll give a quick overview or a quick introduction of myself. So basically, I'm currently interning at Postman as a student community manager intern. Apart from that, because communities have a very, very special place in my heart, you can find me delivering technical talks, workshops, organizing study jams, volunteering, mentoring, and judging hackathons. So I'm also one of the judges at, Hack the Leak as well. So let's get started. Now, first of all, let me give you a quick overview of what exactly we'll be covering during this session, or what exactly the flow of the event will look like. So today we are going to cover, or we are going to go over an introduction to APIs and Postman, and then we will also be talking about requesting and receiving from an API, how we can actually do that, and we will also try some things we have learned today out after that, and then also go over some follow up resources that can also help you in enhancing your journey with Postman. And after that, like one important point that is, in between, some of the participants who are attending the session, some of you might get lucky to win amazing swags as well from Postman. So stay updated till stay tuned till the end, and you might be one of those lucky winners. Okay, now, before even going through what exactly APIs do and what exactly is Postman, let's walk through a very quick example. So, which actually will able to enable you to understand about what exactly APIs are. So we can think of an API as a waiter at a restaurant. Okay. So let's assume that you're sitting at the table, looking at the menu and deciding what to order. Okay. Now, you see, you have decided that what exactly you'll be ordering. Okay, and now what exactly will happen is that how you will actually know, or how will the kitchen know that what you are delivering or what you actually want. So the next thing that you will do is what exactly you will do. You will call a waiter, right? Like, of course you will call a waiter, and the waiter will take your order, deliver it to the kitchen, and then deliver the food back to you, right? That is how exactly the things will be happening. Okay, now you in this case basically are client. Okay, and you are sending your request through the waiter, who tells in the kitchen that what to make. Okay, and then maybe the waiter will come back with your food, or they can also, they may come back to tell you that, hey, the kitchen is out of what you have ordered. But regardless, the waiter serves as a mediator between you and the kitchen, and that's what APIs do for clients and services. Okay, now, so what exactly is an API? So sometimes what we do is that we need to get data from a service, let's say Google or Facebook. Okay, and since we already know that we don't have the access to those companies' code bases, right? What these companies do is that they create APIs. So what happens is that these APIs basically, so what exactly it enables the developers like us to do, that is that, what we can do is we can basically get information from their services. Okay, without access to the code base, that is pretty fair, right? And both the developers and the non-developers use these APIs to get data from popular services like Google, Facebook, Twitter, or any of the popular services you can say for the name. Okay, and then they can also use it in their own projects. So what exactly is the wonderful thing about it? The wonderful thing about is that like how development works here is that now you don't have to build everything from scratch. Okay, you can use these services from other companies, because we have so many software nowadays that utilizes APIs. And of course, these companies or these services are definitely not going anywhere anytime soon, which is why we want to educate as many people as possible on APIs and how do we actually use them. Okay, so now I gave you a very non-technical example of looking at the perspective of what exactly is an API with an example of restaurant. Okay, now let's get, I'll explain about the same in a bit technical manner. Okay, so now what I want is that of course I am not going to ask you that how many of you use social media applications, but I would definitely love to know if you are in their comment. I can definitely see few people saying hello. So hello everyone, and I definitely would love to know about which one of like which is the favorite social media platform for you. So yeah, let me know in the comment section that which is your favorite social media application which you use daily. Okay, so yeah, I'll wait for 1 minute and then I'll go ahead. So if I talk about mine, I'll go first. I basically love using Twitter. Yes, I interact a lot on Twitter, and yeah, that is so yeah, I love doing it. I definitely love using and interacting via Twitter. But of course, so what you can do is that of course we can also talk about other, like we have a lot of other applications as well. And I can see Aditya saying Instagram and LinkedIn. Awesome. Akshita, Twitter. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so as you continue, so let me now give you a more technical, explain about APIs in a more technical manner, which you might be able to understand. So billions and billions of people use smartphones, and they use them to share photos on social media networks, right? Now, do you know that this would not have been possible without APIs? So, sharing photos using a mobile application involves the use of different types of APIs. So, let's see how. The very one, to first take a photo. What happens? The application uses the smartphone's camera via its API. Okay. And then through its API, it can use some, like image library embedded in the application that we in, like in general we call them as filters, right? We all know that how important they are, why during the, again, like when we want to click photos. But after that, and what exactly happens is that these embedded library actually converts and makes the photo in a modified manner, right? And then it shares the modified photo by sending it to a server application that is basically hosted on social network server using an API, using a remote API accessible via a network. Usually it is basically the internet. So in this scenario itself, you saw that there are three different types of API that are involved. The very first one is a hardware API. The next one is a library API. And last but not the least, a remote API as well. So now, okay, so now let's talk about the next thing that is, the most satisfying part about, APIs is that there is an API for literally everything. We have APIs to thank for the sites, applications that provide us with the best deals on hotels, travel, etc. And APIs also help you to access the data you need to get your work done and do your, perform your daily tasks, whether you are just a, whether you are a business user, a student, or using an application just for fun. The good point is, or the good part is that yes, there is an API for literally everything. Okay, now we have talked a lot, enough about APIs, and I'm pretty sure that you have understood that what exactly APIs are. But now let's talk about, how exactly APIs work. Okay, so now let me give you a very quick insight on working of APIs. So I will compare it, and I usually love to compare it using the Lego bricks game. So of course, I am sure that during your childhood you must have played the Lego bricks game for endless hours. If you remember those plastic blocks that you can actually put together to create new things, right? And where the fun part was that the possibilities were actually endless and the only limit was your imagination. So, do you know that API looks like a software version of the Lego brick system? And if you remember well, like using these Lego brick system, we could actually create buildings, cars, planes, spaceships, or whatever we wanted. And interestingly, that we could actually, if we actually got bored out of some of our creations, we could also destroy it completely and, maybe start something from very scratch. Or you could also, transform some of the parts, like transform it by replacing some of the parts, and then you could actually make it to a complete new structure. Moreover, you could even put the existing structures together and create massive spaceships, for example, right? So now basically it's the same in the API world as well. You can basically decompose huge systems of software bricks that can actually be or easily be assembled and even replaced, all thanks to APIs. So now we have talked about APIs. Now let's talk about Postman. So what exactly is Postman? Postman is a collaborative API development platform. The word collaborative is really, really important. So basically, Postman is a collaborative API development platform that allows users to create, test, and run APIs with a very, very, very simple UI. And no wonder Postman is basically used by used by more than 50,000 of organizations across the globe, and with over 13 million developers who are already building, running, and of course distributing APIs with Postman. And because of Postman's helpful features around APIs, the tool has really become the tool has very soon became a industry standard as well, and basically it is used by many top companies and individual developers alike. Okay, now working of APIs with Postman then and now, let's have a look at a very quick, let's have a look at a scenario before and after the involvement of Postman in the field of APIs. So here, if you see on the left hand side, if you will see that basically there is something which is written in the curl command line, right? And this is how this is how basically APIs were used back then. So I'm not sure about you all or everyone who is attending the event, but I really find it difficult to read and get some useful information from this particular interface. Okay, but if you will see on the right hand side, what exactly you see? Basically, that is basically Postman user interface. It allows you to accomplish the same thing with many additional features as well. For example, you can save a request and even reuse it later, or you can also share that, with your teammates working on a project, and much more. And also the UI is really really simple and easy to understand. And if we will talk about the convenience of working with it, most of the tasks can actually be simply done by just a click of button. So that's how exactly Postman has brought change in how exactly we used to work with APIs before and now. Okay, now we have talked a lot about APIs. We also talked about Postman. Now let's talk about requesting and receiving data with one. So in Postman, you can basically make API request and examine the responses without using a terminal or writing any code. So whenever you create a request, or whenever and you click send, the API response appears inside the Postman user interface, and we'll very soon see how exactly things happen there. Okay, now, before that, let's have a quick look at how exactly things are done here. So let's talk about a very amazing pattern, that is basically request response pattern. Now here, if you will see, we have client, we have network, and we have server. So what is exactly client? Client is, you can say it is basically an entity that makes a request to a server. For example, you can say web browsers. Now, then we have something which is called as servers. Okay, a server controls resources and services, and an API is basically the interface that exposes these particular, these resources and services to the clients in the network. So what exactly happens is, what exactly the cycle looks like, the client can interact with an API, with an API by making request over the network to the API, and then the API will then evaluate the request, request, and perform the required operation, or maybe interact with the database or other APIs, and then send back a response to the client. So Postman is basically a client that allows you to make request and view the responses from your server. Okay, now, so what exactly are requests? Requests are basically how we communicate with the API. So, in short, in very, very short, you basically need three things to make an API request: the method, like it can be get, post, put, whichever method. We will also talk about these, like these methods and details. Then the next one is the URL, the endpoint URL, or the URL address. And then last but not the least, we require a path as well. So these elements let the API know what kind of request you are making and where to send the request. And the good news is that you don't have to worry about all of, like, most of the things, like, we have other parameters as well on which, sending or making the request, depends. But you don't have to worry about all of them. But an understanding of these is really really must, and we will cover them in our very next slide. Okay, now, so here what you see a snapshot here, which actually is a snapshot from Postman user interface. And here, if you will see, we actually get a drop down menu from where you have an option to select whichever request you would like to go ahead with. So we will talk about other requests as well, but here, if you will see, so here, and then there is a send button where you can actually add a URL in the text box which is written here, and then you can send the request, okay, to the server. Now, when we make a request to an API, we specify what we want to get out of this interaction with an HTTP method, okay. And what are exactly methods? Methods are basically like verbs, okay? They are actions. They let they let the client, like Postman, know which action to use for which particular URL, okay? So there is a lot, of course, there are a lot of methods out there, but we are only, like the one which we will be using today, those are the most commonly used, that is get, post, put, and delete. Basically, the get method is used to retrieve data from a service, and it is just a read only method. Then next one, we have the post request. The post request basically, is used to, the post method is basically used to send the data to the server. Then we have put method. The put method is most often used to update an existing resources, okay. And if you will see, there is also like put slash patch. So there is a minute, there is a minor difference between put versus like put and patch. So patch is basically for updating a partial data of the record while keeping the other data as it is. Whereas if I talk about the put requests are basically designed to completely override the existing data for a record. And now let's focus on the URL part, right? Let's focus on the URL part for a second. And what exactly you can notice? You can notice that this particular URL has three major parts. The very first one is the protocol, okay? And majorly you will see, like of course you would have come across the protocols like HTTP and HTTPS, right? So across the web. Then the next one is the host, okay? So that is basically your endpoint URL. Like it can be google.com, linkedin.com, instagram.com, or whichever you want. So that is basically your endpoint URL. And the last in this path, that the last is basically the path. That is the the destination where a resource is basically located, okay? So for example, let's say here if you will see, this one is the protocol, and then it is basically like the scheme of the request. Then here we have google.com, that is your host, and last but not the least we have the path, that is the destination where exactly you want to navigate to. Okay, so for example, what I'll do is I'll take a quick example, and let's say that what we want to do is that we actually want to navigate to my LinkedIn profile, okay? So in that case, what exactly will be the host? What exactly will be the host? The host will be www.linkedin.com, right? The protocol remains as it is. And if we want to navigate to my particular profile, or let's say, let's make it easier, and let's say that we want to navigate to LinkedIn's feed, okay? So in that case, what will happen is that if we were to make a get request with this endpoint and path, so what exactly we would get, what and I'll change the path to, of course, feed. The information that I will receive in response, that will be, that will be the LinkedIn feed, right? My LinkedIn feed. So I will also, show you a quick demo of how exactly Google's, like Google search works as an API, where we will be using Google, like google.com as a, like as a, as our API, and then we will see how exactly things happen. So let me quickly share my screen, share my complete screen. I'll share my complete screen, and then let's get started. Okay. Now I'll quickly navigate to Postman, okay, and I'll come here and I'll send a. So, in case you are a first time user on Postman, it is very easy to get started with Postman. You can directly come here. You can click on. So, if like of course, because I'm already logged in. But if you are a first time user, you can very easily log in or sign up for sign up with Postman, and you will get a you are good to go with your free account, of course. And yeah, that will also allow you to collaborate with 3 team members as well. So you can even collaborate with your, if you want to use Postman in your hackathon project, you can also collaborate with your team members and work on a particular project. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll quickly come to, let's say, my workspace, okay, and I'll choose a random one. Let me come here. Okay, I have a lot of them, but yeah, I'll quickly come here and okay, I'll make a new one. That will be good, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So here I will come here and I will, just send a request to https, okay, https google.com, okay. And now let me quickly send the request and let's see what we get. So here if you will come, you will see the response section here, okay. And if you will if I'll talk more about the response section, this is basically, it gives you it gives you what exactly you are sent, what exactly you are requesting for. So here you will see there will be things like status code. If you already know that we have also talked about status code, right? Like we will also talk about the different types of status code, but here this is basically like whether your request was successfully received, or basically it was successful or not. Then we also have other things like time and size, which tells you about how much time it required for the request to be processed and then receive a response. Then we also have the response of the size and other things like headers, cookies, test results, body, etc. Okay, now if you will see what exactly you see in the response, you see like of course a broken css. Don't mind that, because of course we are not working on web browser so that we can actually see the entire user interface. But here you see the Google search engine, right? Now let's say what I want to do is that I want to search for Postman, okay. So now I'll come here, okay, and now I'll quickly search for, let's say, I'll put the query here as Q, and I'll search for Postman. Okay. Now let's hit a send request. Now you don't have to actually perform, you don't have to actually perform this particular demo with me. It is a very short demo, and it just, lets us know that how exactly we can, we can use Postman, by, for fetching information, for fetching data. So that is exactly what we are doing here. Now what you see, the difference is that here in the text box you see Postman, right? I don't think that it is very helpful, right? So here if I will search for Postman in general, what you get, you receive the response, right? You see all the results here, like everything that is related to Postman, maybe about, about the company and everything. But here, and that is when there comes an important point that is called as a parameter. Okay, so here I will add a query parameter, okay, after, here, and then I'll keep it as search. Okay, and now let me hit the send request. So now what you see, that is exactly what is the importance of, the parameters as well. So here if you will see the different, again the same thing, that is, all the result page of, when we actually search for Postman. But you might come across a similar question, like here if you will see, here the URL is really really long, right? If I don't know if you would have, like if you thought of the same or not, but yeah, here if you will see, the URL is really really long, but here I just, type google.com, and my work is done. So of course, let's do one thing. Of course, let's, copy this URL directly and add it here. Okay, and let's see what we get. So I'll directly add it here, and now let me send the same request. Okay, the result is the same, right? The result is the same. But here if you will see in the header section, right, you will see more than just one parameter. So here if you saw that when I was sending the request, the key value pair, that is basically like a key value pair, here we only had Q, and that was for searching, that was for Postman. Okay, but here you will see, of course, don't ask me what exactly they are for. Of course, Google definitely requires a lot of other details as well to, fetch the required data, which as a user we are approaching. But just for example, I'm saying that. Okay. Okay, so now let's get back, and let's again, quickly let me share my presentation, and then let's get started. So that was a very small demonstration of how exactly things work in Postman, or how exactly, you can fetch any information you want. So let's say if you are wondering that what exactly, you go to a particular URL and you're wondering that, hey, what exactly is happening? So it is very easy. You can directly copy the URL, come to Postman, add the link there, and then you yourself see what exactly is happening there. Okay, so now let me quickly come back to the presentation, and let's get started. Okay, now, so we talked about all of these things. Like, of course, we talked about how exactly Google search works as an API. Now, awesome. So now let's talk about other details as well, which are important. So when you make an API call with a get method, it will usually retrieve everything from the URL address, and this can definitely be overwhelming. But at the same time, parameters specify or they filter out the response, so you can actually get the specific data you are looking for. Okay, and then we also have authorization. Now, because it is a 101 session, so we won't be going over the full details of authorization, right? But in general, authentication lets the API know what permissions the client has, and determines what data can actually be processed, or what data can actually be requested. Now, this typically starts out with verifying the developer or the user. So one of the most, like most common types of authorization that you will see, and the one we will actually be using today, is an API key. And other forms of authentication include like access tokens, client ID, or secret ID, or secret ID keys as well. Now, last but not the least, we also have something which is called as, then we have headers. Okay, what exactly are headers? We already just saw, right, that there are different types of headers, and we had, we had three columns there: key, value, and then there was something called as description as well, which is again, like not very useful. But yeah, let's talk about key value, right? So basically, headers are the metadata for the request. So what happens is that some APIs actually require you to send a particular header that is not shown in the URL, unlike how the parameters show that, parameters show the key value pair. exactly how we saw during google.com, like when I was showing the the demo of google.com, Google search engine. Now it is a common practice to send some authorization data like access token and and as such in the header. And then similar to that, we also have something which is called as body. Now this is mainly used for post or put methods, right, where you actually need to specify the data you need to send with a request. Okay, and typically you will send a JSON object in the body. Okay, now finally, of course, when we talked about like, of course, because continuing the conversation talking about body, there is as I already told, that these are the ones which are basically used for post and put methods, where you can actually specify the data you need to send the request with. And then as you can see here in this slide, you can see that there are number of data types which you can basically send in the body, but typically you will be using something which is called as a JSON object in the body. You might already be aware of, but yeah, JSON is basically JavaScript object notation, and it looks like a key value pair. As you can see here, that the key name corresponds to the name of the person, right, and so on. So because it is very easy to interact with, so yeah, typically you will be using JSON, like JSON object while writing, while in the request. Okay, now we went over how to set up API request and send them via Postman, right? We had a quick example of that. Now, when you send an API call, you will actually receive a response, right? You will receive a response as well. So we already saw that, it has something which is called as, status codes, right? And of course, like, 200, 400, etc. And many other headers were also sent while we were, sending the request to google.com. Now, when you make an API call, you will see the response values at the bottom. Okay. So for status 200, okay. So for 200, okay, it is basically usually the best response that one can actually receive. That means that API works as to like API works. So exactly, basically, it is like your request was successful. And other most common examples are 201 created, okay, 400 bad request. You might have come across this term for sure. Or 401 unauthorized, 403 forbidden, 404 404 for like not found. For sure, you or like you must have come across this particular status code for sure in your lifetime. And then we have the different ways of accessing the body in the Postman UI. That is exactly how we'll be, so we will also be seeing it in a minute, when we will be going over to the hands-on part. Now, there is also one thing I also told, right? That is the time that actually shows the latency in milliseconds. This is just for not specifically for the developer who is using it, but it is just for test, like just the performance of testing. Apart from that, we also have the response size. Response size basically breaks down the size into body and the headers. Okay, now let's go, enough of talking, enough of theoretical knowledge. Now let's get started with the hands-on part. And what I'll do is I'll quickly share this particular URL, so that we can actually you all can actually come here. And most of you can like, I will definitely advise you all, to everyone who is watching, to definitely perform it live with me as well. But I'll quickly share it with in the private chat. Jatin, if you are here, like, kindly share this link, or kindly share this URL in the comment section. Okay, now again, let me quickly share my screen. So let me know if you can. Yeah, okay, Dheeraj, can you just do that once? So again, I will definitely request everyone to come to this URL. And till then, I'll quickly share my screen again. Okay. Awesome. So let me know if let me know in the comment section if you have already, if you're already on it. And of course, if you will come here, you will see a lot of things. Like, if you are a first time user, again, you will be required to log in. You will be required to sign up for the very first time, which is very easy. You can directly come there, and you can directly, share your name and email address, and you are just good to go on a single click of button. Now, when you come here, what you will see is basically there are 4 collections, but we definitely want to ignore these 3. And we will be working with the very first collection, that is basics of API. So if you will see, everything that will be happening here is in real time. If you have ever used GitHub, you might also know a lot of things already. So here, like like on GitHub, we actually fork, like we actually can fork repositories, right? And then we can work on it. Similarly, here on Postman, you can actually fork, I can say, you can actually fork large collections and workspaces so that you can actually work with it, and then you can also you can also collaborate with each other as well. So let me know if you are all here, and it will be really great if you can actually follow along. Otherwise, of course, you can have a look at it afterwards and then you can follow along as well. But I will definitely advise you to follow along here with me, because if you will follow along with me now, so that you will be able, so of course you can ask your queries in the chat section and I'll be able to have a look at it, and then we can definitely get started. Okay. Now, other things what you see here is, so as you all are slowly, I can definitely see some people joining in, and I can definitely see some people here because everything here is real time. So as I told, right, the collaboration, so of course you can definitely see everything in real time. Now here, if you will see, we have something which is called as documentation, right? Now here, if you will see, of course we have a lot of things like you can have a look at different types of, like, everything which is also required to be working with a particular API, like of course everything. So now what we will do is, you will also see a section which is basically like run in Postman, right? So now I want you all to click on run in Postman, and then what exactly it will ask you to do is, it will ask you to fork your fork this particular collection in your workspace. Okay. So again, I'll quickly share this link again in the chat section. If Dheeraj, you can share it in the comment section, so it will be good, so people can directly you know come here and move forward. Okay. So now, if you will come here, let me remove others so it does not confuse me. Okay. Now, once you will come here, what you will see is that once you have actually clicked on run and Postman, you will see an option of forking this collection, right? So public workspace, what does that exactly mean? That is it enables collaboration. Okay. So for that, you will definitely have to fork the collection in your workspace, and then you can get started with the particular collection. So now what you will do is, everyone, you will fork the collection. Okay. And once you fork the collection, it will ask you a few details. Okay. Like, of course, what exactly you want to name it as. So I'll name it as, see, you can leave it as, like, you can leave it as it is, like Achal Mishra's fork, but I'll quickly name it as, let's say, hack the league. Okay. I usually name it as the session's name. So hack the leak. Now here, because I work on many workspaces, so I'll you will only get one option, that is my workspace. So you can directly click on my workspace, and once you click on my workspace, you are there. Okay. So you can actually, you're done. Okay. So you can now fork the collection, and now here, if you will see, you will be able to interact, and you will also be able to make changes to this particular collection. Now let me know, for those who are following along with me, please let me know if you have done the steps till here, if you have followed the steps till here. In case not, let me know in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to help you. Okay, I'll wait for 2 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes of time, and you can definitely come here, everyone. Like, you can definitely fork the collection and then go ahead. I can see Aditya is already done. Awesome, very fast. Others, I'll just wait for one, like 1 more minute, and then we can get started. Okay, anyone else joining in? Okay, I can see Chirag has also forked the collection. Awesome. How to summarize API video? I think I've summarized it well. If you will go back, you can definitely have a look at this video again, or maybe connect with me on Twitter. I'll be happy to share some resources on that if you need more help. Okay. Awesome. Now let's get started. Okay. So now here you can see that you have three options. Okay. So here, if you will come to this particular URL, like this documentation, right? Here you can see we have already talked about endpoint URL, right? I'm sure that you all must now know it, that what exactly will be happening here. Now we have three options, right? So we have three options. Either you want to go ahead with Codes API, or you want to go ahead with Jokes API, or you want to go ahead with Books API. So now I'll wait for you that which API you want to go ahead with, whether you want to go ahead with Codes API, Jokes API or Books API? Let me know quickly, and then we will choose that particular API, and then we will go ahead with that. Okay. Yes, come on, folks. Which API you want to go ahead with? The options are Jokes API, Quote API, or Book API. Fast. Okay, I'm waiting. Hmm. Okay, Chirag is saying Jokes API. Okay, anyone else? If you have any other views, otherwise I'll go ahead with I'm happy that yeah, I would also like to go ahead with Jokes API, so I can definitely go ahead with Jokes API. Shreyans is saying Jokes API as well. Okay, let's go ahead with Jokes API then. Now for that, what we have to do is that here, if you will come right here, if you will come, you will see the very first request. Okay, that is get data. So now I'll come here, and here what we have to do is we have to add the URL here. Which URL we will be adding? Of course, the endpoint URL, right? Got it. Okay, we are going ahead. Yes, we are going ahead with Jokes API. Okay, so now from where you will copy the endpoint URL, from where you will copy the from where you will copy the endpoint URL. Of course, from here, right, you can have a look here. That is, it says endpoint URL, right? So I'll quickly, you know, copy the endpoint URL from here. And where will I paste it? I'll come to my very first request, that is get data, and then I'll add my URL here. Okay. Now, once I add my URL here, what you will see. So I want you all to, send the request and let me know what exactly you are seeing here. So, what exactly you will see. Let me know, like, what exactly you see in the response section. You see something? Yes. So, yeah, as you can all, yeah, can you explain the folk part? Sure. So if you will see, you once you come to the URL that was already shared, right? Once the URL that was shared with you, if you will go back, maybe Dheeraj can share the URL again, and then you can directly come here to fork the. So if you will click on Run in Postman, right? Once you click on Run in Postman, you will get an option of creating a fork of your of the workspace which we just saw. That was the public workspace, and then you can start working on the particular API. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Okay, now what we'll do is let's come back here, and so once you send the hit, once you actually hit the send request, what you see hello world here. Now, do you think, like, of course there is something missing, right? Because we are going ahead with Jokes API, so what we will do is we will write here joke, right? So we will write here joke, and now let's hit send. So now once you hit send request, what exactly you see? You see JSON body, right? I'm sure you all can see the JSON body. But so you hear the joke is basically like there is something which is ID that says ID 0, then author is not defined here. And the joke is, how did the coder CEO build his company company headquarters? And the answer is by calling the constructor. Okay. Okay, that was funny. So maybe if any one of you is receiving any, like, if any one of you have received any other joke, feel free to copy it and share it in the chat section. That like for good laughs for other as well. So now what here you will see that we receive a response, and if you will actually send randomly, like if you will send the if you will hit send request like randomly, you will see randomly it will be throwing one or the other joke. So here you can see who is a programmer. A program is a machine, like a programmer is a machine who turns coffee into code. That's not a joke, but yeah, that's actually reality. But yeah, now let's move ahead. So that was about the get part. But two, three important things that are actually important is that, as you already told, that get method, right? Here you can already see there are a lot of methods, but the one which we are going to cover today is get, post, put, and delete. But here, if you will see, basically get request is just a read only method, right? It allows you to retrieve the response from the server where you are requesting it, and then it can go ahead. So now what we will do is we will come here and we will actually, now we want to add a book. Okay, let's say if we want to add a book, so how exactly we can do that. So now I'll come here. Okay, and one important thing, it will be very difficult for you to follow along with me in case you are not on your documentation. Okay, because even if like documentation definitely plays a very important role here, because everything that you will be seeing here definitely will require the use of documentation, right? So I'll quickly again tell you how exactly you can view the documentation. let's say you come here, and here you will click on the hover over this navigation menu, right? And here you will have a lot of options. The option which you want to view is the, just click on, sorry, the click on, just click on view documentation, and then you can get started. So here, if you will see, you will see all the information here, the endpoint URL, the path which you want to follow, and then we can move forward. Now let's move to the next one, that is, we have seen that, yeah, there exists a book, right? Now what we want to do is, let's say we want to add a book. Okay, so let's see how exactly we can do that. So I'll come here, and I'll again click here, and here you will see an option that is called as add a request. Okay, so now what I want is, now we will be adding a new request where we will be adding a book. Okay, so now I'll rename this request name to add a book. Okay, now I'll rename this book, I'll, sorry, add a joke. Okay, now what we will do is, we can directly come here, and now from where, so because if you remember, so just let me know in the comment section that which method we will be going ahead with for adding a joke. Okay, if we want to add something on the existing server, which method we will be using? Any idea? Quick, I told you in the, like, of course, when I was going through the, when I was, when we were actually going through the different types of method. So just let me know in the comment section that which method we will be going ahead with when we are dealing, when we actually want to post, when we actually want to, add a particular data inside the existing server. Yes, anyone? Okay, till then, as you say, I'll quickly first of all come here again and then copy our URL, because that is something which is important. So I'll come here, and are we going to use put method? Are you sure, Aditya? Anyone else who would like to, maybe, like, yeah, Aditya, if you would like to correct yourself, or, if anyone else who would like to, see the right answer. Sai says post. Yes. So we will be using post method, right? We will be using post request for posting a particular, adding a new information on the existing server. Okay. Now what I'll do is same thing here, right? I'll quickly come here, and I'll, add the request here. Okay, I'll add this here, and now I'll come to post request. Okay, now I'll choose the post request. So now what I want to do is, again, come to your documentation, and let's see how exactly we can post, how exactly we can add the information here. So here, if you will see, you can directly, when you want to, send a, if you want to add a new joke, how exactly you can do that. So here we want to, let's copy this particular syntax. Okay, and let's get back to our request. And now here what I'll do is, I'll click on body. Okay, once I click on body, I'll click on raw. Okay, and once I click on raw, we have to select from the drop down menu. And as if you knew already, like, if you know already, we talked about, right, like, we will be using JSON typically for, sending our request, right? And for, of course, while writing in the body. So I'll select the JSON. Okay, again, I will repeat, what exactly you have to do is, you will come here, you will click on body, then you, from, like, in the down, you will, from all the options that are available, you will click on raw. And then after that, from this drop down menu, which will be saying text by default, you will select JSON, and then you will copy paste the syntax that was there. Okay, so same thing again, from where to copy the syntax, I will not repeat again, but yeah, here. Okay, everything that you will be, everything that you will be actually, using, or that exactly the syntax, you will be copying it from the documentation. Okay, so now let's come here, and now let's try to hit the send request. Okay, and let me know what you are seeing. So here, like, of course, you can wait for your response as you receive. But here, if you will see, you will receive the status code 400 bad request. Why you are receiving the status, like, status code 400 bad request? Any idea? Any idea? You can already see it in the response, right? The response basically says that joke with ID 1 already exists. So it is asking us to add a new ID. So now what I'll do is, I'll come here, okay, and I'll add a new ID. So if you will see here, right, if you will, like, so basically, if you will see, 0, 1, 2, 3 are already added on the server. Okay, so if you want to add any other ID, just make it like after 3. Okay, like just just to be on the safe side, keep it like, don't keep it in between like 0 to 10. Okay, so now I'll name this I'll add let's say I'll add 15. Okay, 15 is my favorite number, so I'll quickly add 15. And then author, so here we have, you will see the author name Ali Mustafa, but he is basically, of course, he's if you like, you might already be knowing that he's basically part of our Postman student program team, and he's student community lead here at Postman. Now what I'll do is I'll change it to my name for now, right? So now I'll change it to my name and I'll keep the joke as it is. Okay, I'll keep the joke as it is, and then let's get started. Okay, and source, of course, if you want to change it, you can change it. That's totally up to you. But now, for now, I'll keep it as it is. And now let's hit the send request. Okay, so now if you hit the send request, what you see? The response 201 created, right? And here you can see that, yeah, the ID 15 and author is Achal, joke is bugs are features, source is ile.dev. Now, how many of you have actually done that? And like, did you face any error, or like everything is good till here? Just let me know so that I know that, yeah, you all are following along. Like the people who actually, I can see that, around 8 people are actually following along with me. So so that it actually gives me an essence that, like, gives me an idea that, yeah, you all are still here. Everyone done till here, or anyone is stuck anywhere? Let me know. Good. Okay. Okay, Aditya. Anyone else? No. Okay, Kaushik, I can see you are also done. Awesome, awesome. So now if you will see here, let me just let me just hit refresh button here, and here I can see. Okay, I can only see mine. I can only see my joke added here. Are you all sure that you have added you have added the joke? Because here I cannot see. That is why. Okay, like, no, I'll refresh it. Maybe after some time. Okay, but here if you will see, basically it is that, yeah, our joke is actually being added here. So here every, like, all of the jokes, like, like you will be adding here, they will be in real time. They will be actually getting updated here. So as you will be adding more jokes, as you will be like following along, you will see more and more number of jokes coming here. Okay, now if I'll come here, now what we want to do is, that was about the post request. Okay, now what I want from all of you who are following along is that I want to, like, let's add your own jokes. So of course, I'm sure that as a developer you might have your favorite jokes as well, right? So of course, like, so you can definitely go ahead and add your own jokes, and then let's see. Of course you can, and feel free to tell me about your IDs as well, so that I can also check from here that if you have actually, I can also see from here. I will definitely, I'll just check it from here. But if you are following along till here, just let me know. Just add your own jokes. And for that, for adding your own joke, right, again, do you need to change something? The steps will be mostly same. Okay, what exactly will be? So now you will be coming here, right? First of all, you will be coming to add a request, right? Or you can even continue from here, but let's, like, I'll add a new request, and then I'll say update a joke. Okay, I'll update a joke. Let's update a joke. So you already saw that the syntax was there, right? The syntax for the same is there. But now what we will do is, now we will, let's update a joke. Again, the same thing, where we will be going, ID not sent. Aditya, what exactly is your error? So here I can see, yeah, so I can see that, I can see one person has written, how did the CEO? Okay, fine, he has sent this particular, like, so Kiran has sent this particular joke. Then someone unknown has sent what is hardware. Okay, fine. I'm not sure, Aditya, if you missed something. Like, what exactly is the response you are receiving? If you are receiving, like, the status code which you are receiving, if you are receiving 400 bad request, 404, whichever, or maybe ID does not exist, let me know so that I can help you. Otherwise, now if you will come here, now let's update the joke, right? The syntax will remain the same, right? Now we will be adding our own joke. So now let me come here, and for that, which request we will be using? We will be using which request? 400. It maybe you missed something, right? Like, maybe you might have missed something. That is, are you sure that like, the way you are actually sending the request has body, then you came to raw, and then from the drop down menu selected JSON, and then you added this syntax, maybe like uh yeah, Sai, you're right, we will be using put request. So here if you will see, if you have added it everything correctly, like of course don't copy my don't copy my ID, because it might not work for you, because ID 15 already exists, right? So just name it randomly, like from 1 to 100, choose any random number, and then add it. So I hope it should work. Okay, awesome, it works for you, awesome. Don't tell me your ID. Don't tell me your ID, Kiran. You might want to keep it safe to yourself. Okay. Now let's go back and okay, I got it. Jason problem. Awesome. So now let's get back and now let's see that how exactly we can update a joke. Okay. So now I'll come here. I'll click on put. Okay, because as I already told, right, we will be using the put request for updating a joke, because we don't want to overwrite it, but yeah, we just want to, we just want to update a particular key value pair. Same thing. Now what I found is that basically it is very difficult to every time to have to write this particular URL, right? It is definitely difficult. So now what I'll do is I'll copy this particular URL. Okay, I'll copy this particular URL, and here I'll set it as a variable. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll set it as a new variable. So in case, so Postman also allows you to do that. In case you think that a particular endpoint URL, of course, which you will be dealing with, you want to, like you don't want to, again copy paste the same and then paste it again in your, request URL. So what you can do is you can just come here and you can, let's say, I will name it as base URL. Okay, and now and the value of this particular variable is basically the endpoint, our endpoint URL. And then I'll come here and let me for now save it as global. Okay, so whenever I use this term base URL, it will be globally acceptable it will be globally for my particular workspace, it will be this particular endpoint URL. Now I have set the URL. Okay, and now what I'll do is I'll come here. So now I don't have to again write the same thing, right? I'll just write base URL and it will be done. Okay, so now I'll come here, I'll write base URL. We were working with jokes API, right? So I'll quickly I'll quickly write joke here, and then okay, maybe I missed something. Let me see. Okay, I think I made a mistake, right? I made a mistake. It was yeah, student.com. Okay, so here if you will see basically what exactly will happen is, let me come here. So that was my main intention, to show that exactly what exactly you can do is you can also copy you can copy the repeating endpoint URLs, and then you can directly save them as a variable. So I made a mistake, that was I added an extra slash while saving the variable, and that is why it was not working for me, like it is not able to send the request. But so what I'll do is I'll just to save time, I'll quickly come here, copy the URL from here, and then paste it. But for you, you can definitely go ahead and save it as a variable so that it works for you. And then let's go ahead. So now what we will do is, again, post in the put method as well, the same thing. We'll come to body, we'll come to raw, right? And then from the drop down menu we will select JSON, and then let's get started. So again, same thing, from where we'll be copying the syntax, documentation, right? Yeah. Yeah, sure, Sovik. I can definitely, share my social media. I will definitely share my social media handles after the session, once I'm done with the session. Don't worry. Okay. Now, same thing again. Copy the URL, right? Come back here, and now paste the URL here, right? And remember your ID. So I remember my ID because it was my favorite number. You definitely have to remember your IDs as well, so that you can definitely you can update your, you can only update your joke which you want to add. So I'll change it to, again, Achal Mishra. Achal, I just skipped it as Achal, right? And then I'll change it to, okay, I'm not sure that if if I remember any particular joke, but of course if you're if you can't of course I definitely love to watch memes and jokes on developers. But if you are someone like me who cannot think of any joke here, you can definitely go to dev jokes, and you can just search for dev jokes, and you will find a lot of good memes there. So let me come here, the very first URL, and let's see if I can find some good ones. Okay, there are amazing ones I can see. Let's say I'll say okay, fine. I'll copy this URL. I'll copy this joke. Why don't keyboard sleep? Answer, because they have two shifts. Okay, this was amazing. I love this joke. Okay, fine. I'm adding it here. Now, okay, so now this is my joke, okay? Feel free to add your own joke so that everyone can also laugh at, like, of course, everyone can also have a good laugh. So now I'll come here, and for now, again, I'll keep the source as, same as it is. And now let me send request, okay? And now if you will see the request, okay, fine. I see one here. It should not be, okay. Let me again see if I did something wrong. No, it should be working. Okay, let me come here and add update it here only. So now what I'll do is I'll just update it here, and let me change this section, and I'll change it here. And now let me send the request. Okay, 204 no content. Maybe anyone of you maybe copied my joke or what? Maybe, I think someone did that. Okay, fine. So what you can do is you can definitely go ahead and add up, of course, add up, use put method, and then add your own particular joke. And then once you add your own joke, we will be able to see it here. Okay, we will be able to see it. So here I can already see that, yeah, Aditya says programmers are aliens. Yes, they are. Okay, okay. Maybe other like other programmers here might get offended, but yeah, TK, we are aliens. Okay. Then next is, what programming do you know? Me, HTML. Okay, this was okay. This was good. HTML is not like, okay, fine. What to say? Leave it. Leave the topic. Next one is, what does a clam do on his birthday? He celebrates. Okay, okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. I can already see amazing jokes here. Got the same error with you use different joke. Um, yeah, I don't know why I'm actually receiving this error. Maybe let me change the ID and see what exactly happened. But yeah, it will not be used for like post method, right? So that is why maybe someone copied my ID. That is why. Okay, leave it. Leave it for now. So now I will leave it for now, but I can already see that people are also, like, people are working, people are getting, people are definitely having, like, adding the jokes here. So I'll suppose it to be like maybe a minor syntax error from my side. Not exactly a syntax error, but not sure why exactly it went like this. Okay, now the last thing, okay, the last thing that we want to do is that we want to now delete the joke which we have added. Okay, so now what I want, this is like a home, like not a homework, but of course you have to do it now. And now this is your task to delete your joke. Okay, now what exactly it is, okay, now what exactly I want is that I want you all to delete the joke which you have added. Any idea which method you will be using to delete the joke? Any idea? Yes, fast, let me know. It is very simple, right? The name says everything. The name of the method says everything. Which method you will be using to delete the joke that you have added? Point out to join Postman Student Community Discord server. Yes, Shivdeep, thank you for sharing. I will also share the link as soon as I'm done with the I'm done. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Yes, Aditya. Right. We will be using delete method, right? So now what I want you all to do is I want you all to use delete method for deleting your joke. So how you will do it? You will, again, I think it is very simple. So I won't be doing it live here. But yeah, I want you all to now delete your joke, and then I'll give you 2 minutes for the same. And then I'll also keep on refreshing it here to see that if how many of you have already, deleted it. So come on fast, delete it. I'll wait for you all. I'll just, like, keep on refreshing it in some time so that I see that, how many people have actually deleted it. Let's have a quick check that how many of you actually understood how we can actually, work with different types of methods. So let's do it. Come on, it should not take much time to delete the joke which you have added. Let me know in the comment section if you are done already. I saw Kiran has added two jokes, right? And then we have, okay, someone added from my name. Okay, I added this, right? Okay, so here it shows why don't keyboard sleep answer, because they have two shifts and it was added here. Here it was showing more content. Okay, let's see. That means the put request worked for me. and it showed why don't keyboard sleep, and then here it was working. Okay, fine. Okay, go ahead. Done. I see Aditya is done. Let me refresh it, and yeah, I can see Aditya is done. Others, Kiran, come on. And Aditya, I think you have added two jokes, right? Like two jokes maybe, or maybe we have like we have two Adityas in the chat section. Delete. Yes, we will be using delete method now. Quickly use a delete method and then we will get started. So I'm hoping that you all will be able to delete the method, right? I can definitely expect, expect this from you all after, going through all the three different types of methods. So now what I'll do is I'll quickly come back to my presentation and then let's do, let's do a quick wrap up. Hey Jatin, thank you so much. Okay, now I'll quickly share my tab and then let's get started again. Okay, a very quick navigation, a very quick recap for everything that we have learned. Okay, like everything we have learned till now. So we went over how to set up API request and send them via Postman, right? And we also, of course, we also like first we learned about executing various different types of requests, and those are quickly let me know in the comment section that what were the four requests that we covered today. It should be very easy. Come on, folks. What were the four requests that we learned today? Yes, I'll wait for you to answer. I'll not be saying this because I have told about the four requests enough, and now I definitely expect from you all to know about the four requests that we have seen. I'm waiting for Aditya's answer because I have seen him answering the very first. So go ahead. Yes, post, put, delete, and get, right? So we have used get method, we have used post method. Yes, you all are right. Yes, you all are right. Okay, then so we went through these these different types of request. Yes, right. And then we also discussed about addresses, right? That is our endpoint URL, which remains the constant, and it can have multiple paths as we want. Like we could add jokes API, we could add quotes API, we could add books API as per our requirement or as we like, right? Then talking about parameters, so of course there are there are two different types of parameters. One is your query parameter and one is your path parameter. Okay, and basically query parameters have the key value pair, right? And so example, let's say, and if I talk about the parameters, they only have the value pair. Okay, they only have the value pair. So for example, let's say after the endpoint your url is entering the id, let's say /2 or /3 and so on. So that will basically be your path parameter. And then coming, we also learned about authorization and we also learned about the body data as well. Okay, so I hope that you all had these concepts clear. If not, then you definitely want to go over the session again once the recording is ready. Okay, now talking about few wrap up things. So if you really like this session and if you really got interested that this session actually interested you about to know more about Postman and to learn about to learn with Postman as well, so you can continue your learning as an AP with API as a student expert. Okay, so if I talk about the Postmaster Expert certification, basically it actually enables you to learn about a lot of things. So if you already did follow up during the hands-on part of my session of this particular session, going through the student expert training will not be that difficult for you. You can actually have a look at it, you can know more about the details, all the things which we have covered in more detail. You can also learn about writing simple basic test scripts, how you can actually run the collections, passing the data between requests. And overall it is an amazing expert training, which we actually Postmaster expert training is an amazing training that can actually give you a lot of other like a lot of chance to actually further your learning with enhance your learning with Postman. And of course you can also you can also add once you get your certification, once you complete it, you can also add it on your resume or LinkedIn, of course, to to stand out from the crowd. Now the next thing is that if you want to apply for the same, right? So if you want to apply for student expert training, you can, I'm just sharing this URL in the chat section, just go ahead, apply for it. And once you have applied for the same, then you can definitely move forward with again going ahead. going ahead with your learning and then completing your training, receiving your badge, and then showcasing it to the potential recruiters. Okay, now let's talk about the next thing, that is interesting part that you might have been waiting for as well. So now here I am doing a small giveaway that out of all the participants whom I see here, any one of you, any two of you basically can actually receive a chance to get an amazing Postman swag from my side. So what you have to do is that you basically have to share your learnings with the hashtag Postman student, and if you want to tag Hack the League and me, because of course I definitely want to make sure that it will be easy for me to track all the submissions, right, everyone who is actually participating in this challenge. So you can definitely do two things, that is one thing that is compulsory is to use the hashtag Postman student, okay, and the next one, that is of course you can tag me, right, so that I can actually track your submission. I know that, yeah, basically XYZ person has participated in this challenge. And you can also tag Hack the League, you can also tag Hack the League if you want. Now what you have to do here is you can definitely you might want to take a quick screen grab of the session, like any of the part, and then you can explain about what you learned during this session, everything that the session actually enabled you to learn. And then once you share it, I will choose two random winners. And I forgot about telling about the platform, so you can either share it on LinkedIn and Twitter. These two are the only valid platforms where you might be able to share it, and then you can actually receive a chance to get an amazing swag. Okay, I'll share my Twitter handle as well. Just give me a second. Okay, I'll quickly share my Twitter handle, and I will also share my LinkedIn handle as well, so that you actually, Dheeraj, can quickly share it in the chat section. And I'll also share my LinkedIn URL in case any one of you is also, they want to share it on LinkedIn. So feel free to go ahead. Okay, awesome, Jatin. Thank you. Now, so once you share it, of course, feel free to tag me and feel free to learn up, summarize your learnings, and I'll be more than happy to select, two of the lucky winners, and I'll contact you shortly for giving away the swag. Okay, the next part is the learning resources. So basically, of course, I completely believe that it is not just a session for 1 or 2 hour, how like, the time duration which I took, that the time duration which I actually conducted this session in. But definitely your learning should get enhanced, and you should definitely continue learning about the same. So you can, these are some of the amazing URLs which you can have a look at to again enhance your learning and enhance, of course, make your journey with Postman more interesting and more knowledgeable. So feel free to search for any of these. We have Learning Center, we explore.postman.com if you want to search for amazing and popular APIs you want to play around with. Explore.postman.com is the best one. If you want to have a look at, of course, if you want to be part of some of the discussions going around across the globe regarding APIs and the different things, you can definitely join community as well. And also on the same note, I will definitely suggest you to add, I forgot to share the link, just quickly, I'll quickly share the link as well. Just give me a second and I'll share the link. Okay. uh okay, I'll quickly add it in the comment section. And Jatin again, kindly share this link in the comment section. So you can also join us on Discord, which is a very we have an amazing set of API enthusiasts all across the globe joining here. They learn a lot. If you are stuck somewhere and during your Postmaster Expert training, you will see me mostly active 24/7. So you can definitely tag me and ask your doubts if you are stuck if you are stuck somewhere, and then I'll be able to help you as well. So yeah, go ahead and join. Go ahead and join. Now, if you have, that was it from my side. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'll be here for another 2 minutes, and then we can definitely, wrap up. And of course, if you have any other questions which remains, which remains unanswered during the session, feel free to connect with me on Twitter and LinkedIn, and I'll be more than happy to, connect with you and of course help you with my very best knowledge, with my very best knowledge. So yeah, that was from my side, and yeah, thank you. Okay, awesome. What do I handle? Yeah, I think I have answered it. Okay, I'm just scrolling up and seeing that if I unanswered some of the doubts. Thank you so much, Chirag, for attending. Hi, Jatin.
Hey Achal, so that was indeed a really good session, and as I said in the comments, it is officially like I was not doing some comments things or anything. So this is officially I am announcing right now, even on the recording. I'll not cut it. The most interactive session so far for Hack the League for sure. Because we hardly see anyone following at the time of workshop. Everyone follows after the recording or maybe days after with the screenshots, but the kind of interaction and interactiveness, so I am actually agreeing to all the comments. I was there, and so it was really great session, and I hope that the people, so hey everyone who will see this in the future, so I'm talking to you in the future. If you see this, just go over to Discord and definitely ask all the things that you need. And even right now, anyone who is watching this, you can find everything on the comment section. I was pretty much really active in the comments. All the links are there, from Postman student program to Achal socials. Be connected to her. She posts all about tech as well as some really more amazing stuff that you should definitely tune into. I'll strongly recommend that. And yeah, thank you so much, Achal, to be a part of this impact. And I don't think it is. I think it is needless to say that this is the really amazing session, and you folks might not believe after all the awesome comments that you are dropping. I think you have the ownership to know that this was a short notice session for Achal, and on a really, really, really like not even like less than 24 hours short notice session. This was the impact. So now I don't think I have any question regarding why you are making such an impact. So that's amazing, Atal. And
Thank you
thank you
so
so
much.
much for being a part of this.
Thank you so much, Jatin. Again, kudos to the entire, I would say, kudos to the entire Hack the League team for organizing such an amazing event. And I'm definitely hoping that all of you who attended the session here might be, all ready to, make amazing projects and showcase it on the final D-Day. And I'm definitely looking forward to, have a look at all of them, all of your projects. And I'll also be there in the Discord server. If you have any question, feel free to tag me and I'll be able to help you. Yeah, thank you so much, Jatin, again.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Achal. And a big shout out to each and everyone who is following Achal. I can see the jokes were really awesome, especially the keyboard one. I wanted to type that you want to joke, take my degree, but then I was like, again. But so Achal is officially one of the
Oh,
the super judges for Hack the League as well. So as you folks have already done so much with Achal along the way with Postman, I think she would be very, very happy to see all the people right now, all the people will be watching in the future use Postman in your projects. Who knows? She will give you a plus one. That's her choice. So I'll not comment between that, but definitely we love all the projects for Postman, right, Achal?
yes,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. And for sure, I'll not be biased, Jatin. Don't. Okay, I'll definitely not be,
Yeah,
biased
okay.
regarding the same.
I'm just
I'll,
officially
I'll-
doing sarcasm.
no. Okay, you are taking revenge, Jatin.
I'm not
Okay,
taking
awesome.
revenge,
I'm not a
Achal.
biased judge.
No,
Okay, we'll
I
have a
think this
talk
is just
over
a
this
very
offline.
definitely. So,
Yeah,
folks,
awesome.
officially, Achal, on a very serious note now to each and everyone, Achal is one of the judges for Hack the League, and we all in the team, in the judges, we all will be looking forward to all the adaptations that you do with Postman. I don't think I need to ask, because I can see that there will definitely will be adaptations with Postman. And since that, and because of seeing the interactiveness, I'll be adding one more submission check to the day post submissions, that if people use Postman in their project in any way possible. So folks, whenever you will start submitting it, soft deadline, hard deadline, you are engineers, many of your engineers will not submit before the hard deadline. So I know that as well. So please make sure to check mark if you have used Postman. We would love to see, and I would love to see that as well. you know so thank you so much for joining again, everyone. And I don't think then we have seen a session that went for an hour but was this much interactive and active, actually, with people alive in the chat. So that's an amazing thing.
Awesome. Awesome. That's really
Okay.
good to know. Have a good day, everyone. See you rocking the stage on, during Hack the League. Have a good day, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye, everyone.